All right, and we are live here on YouTube for some Daytona 500 qualifying. Welcome on in. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. Let's open it up here real quick, and we will be. Oh,
Chris Bear is your in.
second. Oh. All right, so there we go. Just double checking everything. All right, looks like we are all good. Welcome on in. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. All right, so there we go. Again, we're here for Daytona 500 qualifying. The order we currently have up there, I believe, is the order that they will be going out to qualify. So we'll be starting off with Corey Heim and Justin Allgaier, two of the drivers trying to race their way into the field tonight. As the top two open cars in the field will be getting their way into the field. All right, so there we go. All right, but yeah, so we got Corey Heim, Allgaier, two of the open cars trying to race their way into the field. Jimmie Johnson will be acting as a chartered car as he has gotten the open provisional, so he will not be earning any prize money no matter where he finishes in the 500. But he doesn't have to worry about going home. So let me just pull up the rest of the entry list because I can't remember who all are open cars. So we've got Corey Heim, Allgaier, Casey Mears. Let's see. Chandler Smith is an open car. Didn't realize Federal Motorsports brought an extra car. I'd been kind of out of the loop, but that's pretty cool. BJ McLeod, JJ Gailey, those are both open cars. Man, there's a lot of them. Anthony Alfredo, Corey LaJoie, I believe those are the last of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drivers going for 4 spots. So, yep, there we go. 8 drivers will be going for 4 spots, 2 of which will be clinched tonight. So again, Corey Heim, Allgaier, Casey Mears, Chandler Smith, BJ McLeod, JJ Yaley, Anthony Alfredo, and Corey LaJoie are the open cars. Again, not counting Jimmie Johnson because, again, he is going to get the 41st spot in the field if he doesn't manage to qualify. So, but yeah, there we go. We are all set up and ready for this one. Welcome on in. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. Feel free to drop in the chat who you guys think is going to be sitting on the pole by the end of the evening. Hey, Tom, how's it going? So, yeah, we got everybody popping on in here. Yeah, as we're getting ready for this one again, we're about oh, all right. They are say because the Iowa versus Maryland game is going late. Qualifying is gonna the qualifying TV broadcast is starting on FS2 here. All right, so there we go. All right, so yeah, we're all set up though. They're talking with Jimmie Johnson here. So single car, 2 rounds. So we will get a 10-car shootout for the pole position at the end of the evening. The 2 fastest cars will set the front row. So as long as they don't have to go to a backup car due to crash damage in the duels tomorrow night, the drivers that finish 1-2 at the end of the night tonight will be your front row for Sunday's Daytona 500. So, just hypothetical, let's say William Byron and Ryan Blaney go out there and are 1-2 at the end of the night. As long as they avoid trouble in their duel and don't have to go to a backup car, those 2 will start first and second for the Daytona 500. Again, in that hypothetical, that those 2 are the final 2. Similarly, the top 2 of the open cars will also punch their tickets into the race. Their starting position will not be locked in, but they will lock in on speed tonight. So there we go. Hey, NASCAR bud, shirt looks fly on you. 500 winner and champ overall picks. All right. Yeah. So over on the Lap Down podcast, which I'm a part of, we actually do race picks, and let me see who I picked because we picked back on Monday. Oh yeah, I went with continuing the trend of Ryan's winning the races. So yeah, we got I went with Ryan Blaney. I think it's a pretty solid pick. Byron winning 3 in a row would be it's not easy to win 3 in a row, but I wouldn't put it past William Byron to pull it off. So Alex Bowman 6 front row starts for the Daytona 500, most all time, which is insane because Bowman hasn't been in the Cup Series all that long for a NASCAR driver. So that's actually pretty impressive that he's been able to qualify as well as he has. If we're saying championship pick is a lot harder because of the fact that we have obviously the brand new format that we haven't seen in play. It's going to be a lot more consistency based, so I think I'm inclined to lean towards Byron maybe for championship, but I very much could also see a world where Christopher Bell continues his consistency, and I think he's going to. I think he is in position to potentially take over that top driver at Toyota. So, from you, Blaney for the 500 and champ Chase Elliott. Yeah, I could definitely see those. Again, my only thing there with Chase Elliott is I don't know about how consistent he'll be. Yeah, and if he'll be able to win enough, because obviously, yeah, consistency matters, but winning is still going to be important. So, I don't know that Chase Elliott would be my first pick for championship. Again, I think Byron or Bell would probably be my. If I had to make a pick right now, I'd probably. I think Byron is slightly more consistent than Bell, maybe, but again, I'm gonna back and forth on championship pick probably for the entire 2 hours that we're gonna be live here for qualifying. But yeah, Daytona 500. There's enough there's enough randomness to it that yeah, there we go. One second, gotta correct a friend of mine who's giving false information in a group chat. Because yes, tonight only sets the front row. Alright, so there we go. Alright, just had to go ahead and correct that. Will Kyle, number 8, so Kyle Busch, break his winless streak? If yes, omitting 500 where? So that's an interesting one. I would like to think that he'll break it. Now, the question of where, I think there's a lot of possible answers. So let me go ahead and just pull up the schedule real quick. So Daytona, I would like to think that, but that's also a very kind of random race. Atlanta, I'm gonna say no. Circuit of the Americas, he was in the fight last year. I just fear that maybe that with an extra year now under his belt, the SVG is going to be even harder to beat than before, so that one's going to be tough. Then you got Phoenix Raceway, Vegas, Darlington. Honestly, you know what would be interesting? I think Kyle Busch could snap the winless streak at one of those shorter flat tracks like a Richmond. Like, obviously, his teammate has been really good at Richmond, but I don't know. I think Kyle Busch could get it done at a track like a Richmond, like an Iowa. Maybe I'll get to see him do it in person at New Hampshire this summer. I'd like to see him win before that, but yeah. William Byron wins Daytona, wins again the Daytona 500. 3 in a row is not an easy stat to do, but again, any given any given outcome here, it could happen. I'm not ruling it out. So, all right, so here we go. We got Mike, Kevin, and Boyer in the booth. Not a big fan of this Fox booth as a whole. It's not as bad as some of the previous Fox booths, but I don't know. I just don't feel like there's a whole lot of chemistry there between Kevin and Boyer, despite the fact that the two were teammates at Stewart-Haas Racing for a while. But so again, the 10 drivers that you can see on screen on the screen right now, over here. That is your first 10 drivers that we will be seeing going out. So again, Corey Heim, Allgaier are going to be some of those first guys out. Sometimes going out early can be a major advantage. Sometimes it can be a big detriment. All right, so there we go. Yeah, we're just chilling out here. We got 40 people hanging out in chat already. Thank you guys for everybody that's spent a portion of your very valuable Wednesday evening here. Of course, again, we got ourselves a long week of racing here. We got time trials tonight. We got the Daytona duels tomorrow. Starting around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Daytona duels. Then on Friday, we have probably, in my opinion, the most anticipated race of the weekend, as we've got an absolutely stacked Truck Series lineup. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Michael McDowell, Tony Stewart, Travis Pastrana, Cletus McFarland, and more racing in the Craftsman Truck Series. Carson Hocevar will be racing in the Craftsman Truck Series. Alongside all the series regulars, that is a ton of star power. And if you guys would like, I'm actually kind of interested in streaming the qualifying session at 3 p.m. I'll definitely be watching the Truck Series qualifying. If you guys would like to see me stream and react to Truck Series qualifying, as there will be drivers actually going home. Because it is a very stacked truck field. If you guys would like to see me react to that, feel free to let me know. But at the current moment, I'm probably planning to just watch it myself. But yeah, we will definitely be streaming that truck race. Then we got Xfinity on Saturday, and the Cup Series obviously on Sunday, assuming the weather holds out, which as of right now, the weather is not looking its best. So qualifying should be starting once we get back from this commercial break, so. But right now we're just chilling out here. Hopefully everybody's having a good time. Alright, there we go. So yeah, we got this Daytona 500 promo. Come on, let's get back into the action. Yep, here we go. All right, they're getting ready to roll these first couple of cars out. Again, that lime green Robin Hood car for Corey Heim. He's got a 12 race Cup schedule here for the he's got a 12 race Cup schedule, and yep, there's the 8 drivers not currently locked into the field that could potentially go big or go home. Again, Chandler Smith, Allgaier, Yaley, Alfredo, Mears, Heim, McLeod, and LaJoie. A lot of them. And the first car is on track at Daytona International Speedway. Corey Heim Up through the gears he goes, climbing the banking at Daytona, and we are so back. Let's go. So again, yeah, when it comes to Daytona 500 time trials, if you guys are new here, you will see these drivers on this opening lap as they are trying to get built up to speed, taking the absolute longest way around, right up against the wall. That way they can have more time to build up more speed and carry more speed to the green flag to start their run. Now, for the start of their actual run, you'll see them run lower for the shorter distance around the track. Shorter distance, it just makes it easier to get a better time. And here we go. On the clock is Coreyheim. Hey, Kenny, how's it going? But yeah, Coreyheim on the clock here. First car out on track. He has not had to lift yet on that throttle. He's full throttle, no brake. Say down onto the back straightaway. He's staying very low on the back straightaway. Normally you'd see them maybe drift a little higher, but as of right now, hey, if it's gonna work, we're gonna have to wait and see. But carries a good amount of speed. I believe I saw 185 entering the corner. Again, Coreyheim, say he is not even a full-time Cup Series participant yet, although I think a lot of people have been talking about him as a potential Cup Series star here in the near future. And there goes Coreyheim. First lap goes and puts up a lap time of 49 seconds, a speed an average speed of 130 or 183 miles an hour for Coreyheim. Now on the clock. Here it is, coming off of turn 4 to start his lap. It's going to be the Junior Motorsports number 40 of Justin Allgaier, 39 years old. He won the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Championship just 2 years ago. And now he's here on the high banks of Daytona trying to qualify for his second consecutive Daytona 500 with the Junior Motorsports and the Travelers Whiskey sponsorship on that machine. Down the back straightaway, another driver staying extremely low down the back straightaway. Maybe this is a new strategy to try and go there. Not full throttle though. And I say his throttle meter only reading 99% full out, but again, that could very well just be a misreading with the instruments here. As Justin Allgaier gonna come to the line, not as quick. He slots in behind Coreyheim, and Allgaier, you wanted to see a little bit more there. Here we go. Hope Chase gets the pole, pulling for Allgaier to make the show. Well, at least as of right now, it looks like he might have to race his way in. Eric Jones out of Byron, Michigan, looking to go ahead and see if he can get himself on the front row. Get that petty number 43 back up in the Daytona victory lane would be amazing. Obviously, it's a very different era than when Petty raced. The 43 has not been nearly as good as it was back then, but Eric Jones is a heck of a driver. He does have a win here at Daytona back in 2018 in the summer race. In fact, Eric Jones's first career Cup Series win came at this exact venue in that 2018 summer race. So here we go, wrapping right around the bottom. Here comes Eric Jones off the corner. Not sure it's going to be enough. Down to the stripe, and it is going to be third for Eric Jones, a 182.4 miles an hour. So again, as of right now, Allgaier could still race his way in. He just needs to be ahead of two. He needs to be in the top 2 of the open cars. Now, the fact that he wasn't able to beat Coreyheim for that top spot right now, because if he was able to beat Coreyheim, that would be one of the 7 guys who could bump him out. But he is not out of it yet. Ty Dillon now on the track, gonna see if he can put up a a good speed here in, I'm not even sure what the sponsor on that is, Grizzlies. But again, Ty Dillon never finished. He's never even gotten a runner-up finish. I mean, I know he hasn't been great, but I would have thought maybe he would have lucked into a runner-up finish at Daytona one of these years. But nope. Best finish of third place in the 2020 Fall Talladega race when Ryan Blaney absolutely squeaked out a win there at that one. I believe that was Blaney squeaking that one out. And there it is. Ty Dillon going to slot in the fourth position here, a 181.8. So, as I say, so far, all four drivers that have taken to the track have gone slower than the driver before them. Hopefully that trend doesn't continue. Otherwise, we're going to see a very interesting run here. All right, let's see what we're seeing here. So again, we got the newly rebranded Haas factory team going from Ford to Chevy this season. So going from Ford to Chevy here. Curious if that'll help with Haas finding any speed, maybe a little bit more manufacturer support. Although I don't really know because Chevy is one of the most stretched thin organizations of all of them. And here we go. Here comes Corey, not Corey. Coreyheim still at the top, but Cole Custer off of turn 4. Cole Custer to the line, and he is going to come up 5th. Oh, no, sorry. My mistake. 3rd. 3rd for Cole Custer. He actually jumps up a couple of spots here. There we go. A 182.47 as opposed to Eric Jones's 182.43. And it's a 1/100th of a second being the difference between Cole Custer and Eric Jones. Again, if you don't end up being in the on the front row at the end of this, it essentially isn't going to really matter. I mean, it'll get you a better starting spot in the duel, but the duel races at Daytona are so chaotic most of the time that, it's hard to take too much away from them. Here we go. Ryan Preece is on the track now. Let's see. All right, so here we go. Here comes Ryan Preece looking to try and back up his Clash win from a week ago. And there he goes, Ryan Preece to the top of the board. 183.3 miles per hour. There he goes, Ryan Preece to the top of the board. Let's go, Ryans. Casey Mears, 47 years old. And Casey Mears here, going to be looking to see what he can do. This would be the 3rd of the open cars to run. Again, if he can outrun Allgaier or Heim, he will bump Allgaier into a must race his way in through the duel. Yeah, with Corey Heim, Heim has a little bit more wiggle room as he is currently the top open car, but both are still very much at risk. But as of right now, though, the Garage 66 car, I'm not expecting a whole lot out of the MBM Motorsports / Garage 66 entry here. Yep, here we go. Coming to the line. Yeah, Casey Mears. Oh, 179.1. Yikes. I mean, that is way off. All right, so here we go. Todd Gilliland driving the driving the number 34 Ford Mustang here. He starts his lap. Again, it's hard to tell without a ghost car as to where exactly he is, although I also kind of like not seeing the ghost car because sometimes you can kind of tell, like, okay, yeah, there's no way you're gaining much time, say, down the back straightaway. But here we go again. Yeah, Gilliland, though, down the back straightaway. Everybody running a lot lower down the back straightaway than I remember them going. Maybe that was just during race conditions, but there we go. Right, here comes the 34, Todd Gilliland. Looks like he is going to come across the line. Slots himself in. Looks like 6th place there for Todd Gilliland. Only bumping down Ty Dillon and Mears. So again, a lot of work to do, it seems like, on the... So there we go. All right, here comes Daniel Suarez out of Mexico, looking to try and make his name known here as he is now on a new team for the first time in several years. As he was out at Trackhouse Racing and has now found his way to Spire Motorsports. Driving the number 7 car. The number 7 car at Spire last year was very experimental. Yeah, and ultimately just never found any stability with Justin Haley. So here we go again. Right now, Daniel Suarez into 3 and 4 here, trying to make something happen. Man, off turn 4, Suarez looking to see where he comes in. Not gonna slate himself very good there, as he comes across the line 8th out of 9. Yikes. All right, here we go. Jimmie Johnson, the 10th driver to take to the track. And I apologize, I am just very tired right now. Jimmie Johnson will go ahead and take to the track. We're going to have to wait and see how he does in qualifying. All right, here we go. You know, we're just chilling out here. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. Jimmie Johnson, again, already locked into the field as he has opted to take the owner's provisional, which will guarantee him a spot in the race, but he will have to forfeit all winnings here. There we go. Crosses the line. Jimmie Johnson, 6th place for Jimmie, as he crossed the line with a 182.351. There we go. All right, here we go. Yeah, we're just chilling out here. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. They're talking with all guy here who, again, still holds a top 2 spot on the board, but it is going to be really tough for him not to have somebody. All right, here we go. All right. We got Noah Gragson on track here, driving the number 4 for Front Row Motorsports. Let's see what we got here. Again, Noah Gragson coming to the line. Not going to be a good time probably here. The front motorsports cars tend to struggle in qualifying. 9th place for Gregson. It's enough to get him into the top 10 for now, but he will almost certainly be bumped out here shortly. All right, here we go. This is the car I think a lot of people are going to be keeping an eye on and rooting for. The number 16, carrying the Greg Biffle 16, A.J. Allmendinger. As we get ready to go, he hits the green flag and he is on it here. Again, driving that number 16 car. I'm curious to see what kind of support they get, though, from Chevy, as obviously, while they're going to be a Chevy driving the Chevy team in the Cup Series, the and in the Xfinity Series level, the truck program that the colleague puts out is a Dodge Ram, as the Dodge Rams are back. So 2 different manufacturers across their team in the Cup Xfinity and Cup O'Reilly and Truck Series. That is going to take some time to get used to. Hey Dave, how's it going? Here we go, crosses the line, and Allmendinger slots himself in 7th. So not enough for probably not going to be enough for a shot at the pole, but pole's not what we're here for. We want to see that number 16 return to victory lane. All right, there we go. They swapped us back over, so we should be over on Fox Sports 1 now. All right, Daytona 500 qualifying. Here we go. All right, so they're at commercial break. We are chilling out here. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. Again, a lot of these drivers, in fact, I would be willing to bet pretty much every single one of these drivers that you've seen run so far are going to have to requalify tomorrow in the Daytona duels. We just have so many good drivers still to go that it is tough to put too much stock in any of the drivers going this early. All right. Oh, man. We're just chilling out here. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. All right. I'm going to go run use the bathroom, and we will be right back, guys. All right, we are back. So they're back from commercial break. We've got Riley Herbst on track attempting to qualify here. He is a chartered car, so we don't really have to worry about it. And Riley Herbst, no offense, is nowhere near going to be probably nowhere near this one. And it looks like he's running really high. This got to be his warm up lap, right? He's just coming to start the green. No way this is his actual timed lap, right? Okay, yeah, there we go. And oh, he scrapes the he scrapes the apron there, right against the bottom, trying to go as low as he possibly can. I don't know if that scraping though is going to hurt his lap time ever so slightly here. Again, Riley Herbst's not in necessarily the best of positions to begin with. Saw a low speed of 178 through the corner, but now here's the time to see what that speed tops out at down the back straightaway. Looks like 184 was the top speed down the back straightaway. Now carried a little bit more speed through the corner here, but again, it is going to be definitely slower than the others. As we see coming to the green flag, or to the checkered flag here, and Herbst goes 7th on the board. Okay, not terrible. 181.995 there for Riley Herbst's average. So not bad. Again, he immediately kind of scraped the wall there on the inside. All right, here we go. Yeah, we're just trying to. Oh, man, I am. Sorry, dealing with a little bit of a stuffed up head here, guys. I apologize. I'm definitely not at the top of my game. We'll be nice and freshly rested for the 500 for sure. Yeah, again, we got ourselves a pretty good on track action here. We got, okay, here we go. Open car attempting to qualify here. Chandler Smith, car number 36. This is the 4th entry here for Front Row Motorsports. Front Row only having 3 charters. The 36 is going to have to qualify on merit. Alright, so again, right now, say Smith goes 13th on the board. Yikes. Man, Chandler Smith way off the pace there. Here comes Carson Hocevar, driver I think could very well go ahead and jump up to the top of the board here. One of the first drivers we've seen who has actually knocked on the door of a victory in the next gen era. And here we go, starting to utilize that ghost car here. And say Hocevar is notably ahead of Dylan. Now, I don't think he's half a second ahead, although it's hard to really tell on the ghost car here. So there we go. Alright, man, again, we're just chilling out here. Hocevar gonna completely clear title in his ghost car. Jumps up to 7th on the board. So it's not a great run there for Hocevar, but yep, there we go. Noah Gragson. Ooh. No. Yep, that's a new rule for this year. Alright, so there we go. Yep. It's a NASCAR over the winter. One of the rule changes that they rolled out is that you're no longer allowed to deflect the air with your hand, which Noah Gragson just went and did. So that would disqualify Gragson from this event. All right, here we go. Kyle Busch ahead of the Todd Gillen bubble car by a large margin. Here comes Kyle Busch. Here we go. Vintage Kyle Busch. Let's see where he can Kyle Busch jump all the way to the top of the board. That would be insane. But yeah, Kyle Busch has Gillen clear by a country mile here. Coming through the tri-oval to the start-finish line. And there it is, Kyle Busch, top of the board. Let's go. KFB, top of the board by a considerable margin. In fact, nearly half a mile an hour faster. Let's go, Kyle Busch. All right, so there we go again. Kyle Busch just set the fastest time of the night so far. If that holds up, Kyle Busch could be racing for the pole position later on tonight. All right, here we go again. We're just chilling out here. They're talking about Zilich's accomplishments here, as I believe Connor Zilich is the next one to go. So, yeah, so far we've had four of our 8 open cars go. Here comes Zilich. Zilich jumps to 5th. Good job for Connor Zilich in his first Daytona 500, I believe. All right, here we go. Again, Zilich is on the clock. Oh, no, sorry. Zilich already completed his lap, so now it's going to be Zane Smith coming to the green flag here. All right, here we go. Man, again, I'm sorry. I'm just really tired here. Kyle Busch, though, jumping to the top of the board is definitely interesting. Let's see. Who is next up here? So we got Zane Smith, John Hunter Nemechek, then we got McLeod, Yaley, and then we only have 2 more left for the open drama. Man, again, I am just so tired here, but we are going to just power on through here. Again, Zane Smith jumps up to 5th place here on the board. Alright, here we go. Alright, so John Hunter Nemechek, 4 years in the Cup Series, and here he goes, trying to bump his way into this top 10 shootout for the pole position at the end of the night. It's basically the only thing any of these non-playoff drivers are really chasing. Here we go again. We're working our way through this one. Nemechek out ahead of the field, making this one happen, but all right, Nemechek's out ahead of the field. Kind of similar to what Kyle Busch just did. Let's see. All right, so John Nemechek goes to 5th on the board. All right, still two. It's like Kyle Busch still a tenth or two faster than everybody else. Here we go, BJ McLeod up next here. So we got McLeod, Yaley, and one other, and then we will lock in our first Hall of Fame selection. All right, let's see. Whew. Alright, let's see again. McLeod down the back straightaway in the all black Chevy here. Alright, man, again, we're just working our way through this one. BJ McLeod qualifies and will be pretty far back to start the Daytona 500. So there we go. Their time, it was the Spotter 17 team. Here we go. Yeah, we're just working our way through this one. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. JJ Yaley on track here, trying to do what his contemporary could not, which is trying to go ahead and bump yourselves into this top 10 shootout. Alright, here we go again. JJ Yaley in the number 44 car, 49 years old, trying to go ahead and just prove he's still got what it takes. Alright, man, again, we're just chilling out here. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. So McLeod and Yaley both say McLeod not able to really bounce up into that top group, and following that other one that also disappointed there for Yaley. We now have two spots left and two two people who are gonna try and take them. So. Alright, here we go. Let's see. Alright, here we go. Again, we're working our way through this one. It's been a long day. Here we go. Anthony Alfredo on track here. Let's go, pasta guy. Alright, so Anthony Alfredo down into turns 1 and 2 here. Alfredo, one of the last two open cars to qualify. It's either going to be him or Heim punching their ticket after this race. Oh, man. Alright, so again, right now, Anthony Alfredo, the lone driver that could upset Corey Heim's qualifying run up to this point. And I say right now, Heim and Allgaier are looking like they might lock down the front of the field for at least a bit. Here we go. Anthony Alfredo crosses the line, 15th. Oof. That is rough, and there it is. Coreyheim will be a part of the Daytona 500 with a speed of 138.3. There we go. Oh man, I am really struggling tonight. I apologize, guys. Been really stuffed up with a head cold most of the morning, so yeah, once I get done here, I'm gonna be going straight to bed. But all right, so we only got one open car left to go, and it's Corey LaJoie. He'll be running when we come back from the commercial break. We got McDowell first. We got McDowell and then Corey LaJoie, and that'll round out our Cup Series or our open cars. Alright, we're just chilling out here. Hopefully everybody's having a good time. I cannot wait for... I'm excited for Daytona week. Right, I'm going to go grab some more water and we'll be right back, guys. All right, here we are. We are back as we are. I'm just getting back, and we are. Mike McDowell is on track right now. On the verge of bumping into the top 10, which being on the verge right now would just mean that we're probably going to get bumped out within the next 5 minutes. But following Michael McDowell's run, we have the last open car of the evening here. All right, let's try and bring some more energy to this. All right. Here we go. Mike McDowell. Oh, McDowell bumps up to 7th. Okay. So we weren't, we weren't in by much, but we got enough there at the very end to bump up there. All right, here we go. So the final open car of the evening, it's going to be Corey LaJoie versus Justin Allgaier for the final spot, guaranteed into the Daytona 500. If LaJoie does not get there, he will have to race his way in tomorrow. If he does get there, Allgaier will have to race his way in tomorrow. All right, so there we go. All right, so here we go. Coming down the back straightaway here, carrying a ton of speed. Corey LaJoie actually not full throttle, which is kind of interesting, at least according to the Fox graphics, which would be a really interesting one. But yeah, he's nowhere near the pace of the other two, though. Looks like Corey LaJoie will have to race his way in tomorrow as he comes off of turn number 4 towards the start-finish line. Through the tri-oval he goes, and he might get there. He does not! Corey LaJoie comes up short, and Justin Allgaier will lock his way in to the Daytona 500. Corey Heim, Justin Allgaier in on speed. Corey LaJoie comes up a short third place to Justin Allgaier and Corey Heim. So Heim locked into the Daytona 500 a few minutes ago, and now Justin Allgaier and Junior Motorsports will be a part of the Daytona 500 once again. All right, here we go. We got Tyler Reddick on track, and now we get to start. Okay, I guess technically not locked in because theoretically, if all three of them can stay inside the top 10, which is still fairly unlikely. But yeah, here we go again. Tyler Reddick here. We're gonna start getting into some of the more competitive cars here, which is gonna means we're gonna be seeing speeds jumping up here. Although Tyler Reddick coming with no speed here. Tyler Reddick goes. Where did Reddick come in on the speed chart? Tyler Reddick. Looking for Tyler Reddick's speed here. Let's see. All right. Tyler Reddick goes 21st on the scoreboard. So a really bad run there for Tyler Reddick. He will have to come from near the back of his dual race. Which, yeah, that is going to be a rough one there. They're talking now with Chase Briscoe, the guy who won the pole 1 year ago here. All right, so here we go. Now we got the silver and black number 3 car here. The 25th anniversary of Dale Sr.'s passing. I'm gonna say Dale Sr. tragically passed away 25 years ago. Dylan comes across the line, 4th place for Dylan. So starting to put a few more cars up here into this top 10, pushing LaJoie further back. If LaJoie can't stay in this top 10, that will officially clinch it for Allgaier. It is all but clinched at the moment. But good run for Austin Dillon all the way up into the top 5. So yeah, again, right now we're just we're sitting here waiting. Here comes Josh Berry on the number 21 car here. Josh Berry coming off his first career win last year. Now with a format that won't have a win in your in system, the question is, can Berry find the consistency he would need to be a chase contender here versus just being a middle of the pack team as they had been here. All right, but yeah, Barry not even able to keep up with Zilich's pace at this point for that bubble. Coming across the line, it's going to be Josh Berry coming up short here. Question is how short? 13th for Josh Berry, which again, not going to be good enough to race for the in the top 10 shootout here. All right, here we go. Two-time Daytona 500 pole sitter. His first two Daytona 500s in 2016 and 2017. It's Chase Elliott on track here. So here we go. Can Chase Elliott in the first Hendrick Motorsports car potentially put up a big number here? We've seen the Hendrick cars before absolutely crush qualifying for a number of years. Right, there was a stretch of years from where you really needed to be a Hendrick associated Chevy or you weren't winning the 500. All right, but yeah, here we go. Come on, Chase Elliott. Hanging on to a good spot over Zilich. The question is, how far up the grid will that put him? Off turn 4, coming through the tri-oval, and it is going to be Chase Elliott goes 4th on the grid. There we go. Because of copyright reasons, I can't put the actual broadcast on the stream. Otherwise, I would get shut down for copyright. So no driver has won 3 straight. Okay, I knew that it was hard. I didn't realize nobody. I thought maybe Richard Petty with his 7 Daytona 500s might have had a 3-in-a-row streak there, but no drivers ever won 3 in a row. William Byron on track here. He's going to be looking to try and go for three Daytona 500 wins in a row here. Again, no driver's ever been able to pull that one off. That is going to be it's going to be a really tough one to pull off here, but Byron, as good a car as any here, down the back straightaway. Not a whole lot of gap, though, over 10th place. And it's going to be tight. Might get to 6th or 7th here. No, it looks like it actually lost speed off of through 3 and 4 here. He's going to be lucky to get into the top 10 at all. And here it comes, cross the line. 11th for William Byron. William Byron short of the margin to make it in to the next round of qualifying. McDowell currently sits on that 10th spot, so if we can just avoid any further issues, we will be we will have ourselves a pretty good run here. All right, here we go. Shane Van Gisbergen. We've seen him improve at some of the ovals, but obviously still much more of a road course guy. And let's see. In qualifying, where you need to be picture perfect. I think there's just too many variables here. SVG dropping a couple hundredths of a second. Start to lose whoever is there. Down a full 10th behind the 10th place car of Michael McDowell. Again, McDowell, a great super speedway racer in his own right here, but SVG just not going to be able to make it happen. 2 full tenths of a second off the pace and dropping quickly here. SVG desperately wants this race on the road course. As Shane Van Gisbergen does not even crack the top 20 with that. That is insane. So there we go. That does not even crack the top. The top 15 here. So SVG comes in 23rd for Shane Van Gisbergen. Here comes Ross the Boss Chastain. Melon Man. All right, so here we go. Ross Chastain going to try and see what he can make happen here. I thought the 100 cars looked strong, but then Byron didn't manage to bump his way into the top 10. The Trackhouse cars seem really off. All right, so Chastain comes in 21st on that one. So we still have about a handful or so of drivers to go here. All we got Cody Ware. Okay, Cody Ware qualifying pretty late. I'm gonna say a fourth place finish last summer, or not this past summer, but the summer before that summer Daytona race. But as of right now, man, Cody Ware off the pace here. Not going to be able to get there. It's close-ish, but it's not going to be enough for a top 10 day. Comes home 15th, though. Not bad for Cody Ware. I'll say Cody Ware there with the Rick Ware Racing equipment. Not a bad day. Here comes the 17 of Chris Buescher. All right, here we go. Yeah, as of right now, we still have 3 open cars in the top 10 shootout, so the spots might not be as locked in as we thought they might be. All right, so here we go. Again, Chris Buescher looks to be good enough to bump his way into the field. The question is, by how much? And off of turn 4, here he goes. Climbing towards that 1/10. 88, 87 tenth, or 87th of a tenth here. Let's see. Again, they're hanging on just shy here through 3 and 4. 180, 179 down through the corners. All right, so here we go, and there it is. Chris Buescher to 4th. There we go. Chris Buescher goes 4th on the board. As everybody else climbing into their cars, getting ready for this one. Again, right now, Corey LaJoie and all that are barely hanging on to that top 10, and we've got some heavy hitters still to come. All right, here we go. Let's see. What do we got? 1 second, guys. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Just wanted to mute the mic so that you guys didn't have to hear all that. Man. Man, my head is just still so stuffed up. Yeah, we're at commercial break. We're waiting to see if this last bunch of drivers, again, not a whole lot of them remaining. Let's see who all we got on deck, actually. So we got Briscoe, Ty Gibbs, Ryan Blaney, Larson, Logano, Bell, Cindric, Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, Alex Bowman, and Denny Hamlin. So a small handful of drivers remaining here, and yeah, it is going to be a tough fight here all the way through. Alright, so there we go. Yeah, duels at Daytona start tomorrow at 7. First one's at 7. The second one is scheduled for 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we got the 2 duels at Daytona. And then we got we got ourselves a lot of racing this week. The next 4 days in a row. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hopefully, we have racing all 4 days. Alright, so there we go. Allgaier, LaJoie, Nemechek, Smith. A couple of the guys who are hanging on to those last couple of top 10 spots. But, again, there are some heavy hitters still to come. Again, I mean, you've got guys like Denny Hamlin, a multi-time Daytona 500 winner in his own right. You got Ryan Blaney, who's been on the pole, or who's been on the front row for the 500 a few times. You got Chase Briscoe, last year's pole winner here at the World Center of Racing. As right now, Chase Briscoe is going to see if he can go ahead and dethrone Kyle Busch. Currently on pace to at least have a good run here. Now, I don't know if it'll be good enough for the pole position, but again, you're putting together a really good run here, Briscoe. Let's see. Is it going to be second, maybe third, fourth? Let's see. All going to be down to this exit. Off of turn 4. Hanging on to about a 2/10. And it looks like he is going to get maybe up to second. Let's see. Crosses the line. Second place, Chase Briscoe. And there we go. Chase Briscoe jumps all the way to second place. So there we go. Only 2 more. If 2 more drivers of the remaining get into the field above us. Alright, so there we go. Again, right now we got Ty Gibbs coming out onto the track, seeing if he can replicate what his teammate just did there with Chase Briscoe going all the way up to the second place. But again, just not good enough to catch Kyle Busch. But again, these laps that these guys are putting down are insane. Here we go. Again, Ty Gibbs, he's not even really overly close. He might bump Nemechek, but that might be about all he does here through 3 and 4. And it is going to be... Here we go. Yeah, we're just chilling out here. Gibbs does bump his way into the top 10. There we go. Ty Gibbs to 7th. All right. here we go. Ty Gibbs currently fighting his way up into 7th place. Here comes Ryan Blaney. Say Ryan Blaney, he's been one of the greatest drivers of this generation as well. All right, so here we go again. Ryan Blaney, trying to put together a good lap. And say LaJoie, all we need is one driver to bump LaJoie, and that will lock Allgaier into the field. But Ryan Blaney having a really bad run down the back straightaway, lost a half a tenth here. Yep, Busch still at the top of the boards here. Coming through the tri-oval. Blaney's not going to get there for the pole. Or he's not going to be able to run again for the pole, and that is going to put Blaney 13th here as we get ready to run the duels tomorrow. All right, here we go again. Kyle Larson coming to the the reigning champion here, coming to the green flag to start his lap. Let's see if Kyle Larson can go ahead and put together a good lap. Kyle Larson might be the one guy who could dethrone Kyle Busch for that top spot at the moment. At this point, we know Kyle Busch is going to have to run again, though, which qualifying, having to requalify definitely is. Alright, so here we go. We're working our way through this one. Here we go. Off turn 4. Here comes Kyle Larson. He's going to bump LaJoie. Allgaier makes it into the field. Kyle Larson goes 4th. Yep, there we go. Coreyheim and Justin Allgaier will be going to the Daytona 500 after time trialing in. LaJoie, Anthony Alfredo, Smith, McLeod, and Mears and Yaley all have to try and race their way in through the duels. Now here we go. We got Joey Logano on track here, a driver who has gotten a couple of poles before. Alright, so yeah, right now, Logano putting on a pretty good lap here, down through the first set of corners, onto the back straightaway, carry that momentum, 182, 183 miles an hour, 184. Alright, so now down through 3 and 4, you gotta minimize. Alright, so there we go. Joey Logano not able to bump. Wait, no, he did bump. He bumped his way in. Number 8. So here we go. Here comes the number 20 of Christopher Bell. Let's see, how far can Bell move up this grid here? Again, we've seen the Toyotas put on some strong performances. Briscoe, Heim, Gibbs. 3 Toyotas currently inside that top bunch. But as of right now, yeah, here we go. Again, Christopher Bell working his way through this one. A little bit behind the pace, though. Bell going to struggle here if he wants to try and get into that top 10. It looks like Christopher Bell not going to get there. Close the gap a little bit, but... Alright, so there we go. Christopher Bell goes 11th and will not be re-qualifying later tonight in that second round of qualifying. All right, here we go. Austin Cindric. We've only got a few drivers left. Let's see. Austin Cindric qualifying for Daytona here. It's him, Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, Bowman, and Hamlin. So we only got about 4 drivers left after this one. So it's definitely winding down here quick. Here we go. Alright, and here we go. Austin Cindric. Here we go. Again, Cindric 15th and will not be good enough to requalify as he comes in 15th there. Alright, so there we go. So again, Bubba Wallace now on track. And again, Bubba, Brad Keselowski, Bowman, and Hamlin, the only remaining drivers. Which means the only 4 people who could get... So Buescher on up is safe. So Buescher, Heim, Larson, Preece, Briscoe, and Busch will all be racing again for the... for this final spot. Yeah, for these final 2 spots at the front of the field. Here we go. Let's see. Again, Bubba Wallace not carrying enough speed. I mean, he's just going to come up short here. And yeah, I mean, as much as I like Bubba Wallace, 2/10 off the pace here. He's gonna get straight up deleted here. But yeah, no, Bubba not enough to bump into the top 10 here. Say 2 active champions looking for their first one there with Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch. You also got Larson, Blaney, and Elliott who have all won championships, but have not won the Daytona 500. Here we go. Brad Keselowski looking to take the green flag here. First time since... Alright, here we go. Again, Brad Keselowski, fresh off a broken leg. I'm not expecting much out of him, honestly, here. Yeah, say with time trials, I did not expect much, but here we go. Again, the top 10 shootout should be a ton of fun, though. The battle for the pole position. But yeah, Brad Keselowski, though, fresh off a broken leg, crosses the line, not going to get there. Will come in the 16th position. And yeah, Keselowski will go ahead and get himself set for race day. All right, here we go. Bowman and Hamlin, the last two drivers to run, and then we get our top 10 shootout. Here we go. Alex Bowman on track here, running right up against the wall, so it must be his warm-up lap here. All right, here we go. To the green flag. Green, green, green. Here comes Alex Bowman. And Alex Bowman put up any fight against Kyle Busch and the Toyotas here. Because we are just along for the ride. There we go. Again, we're just chilling out here. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. Alex Bowman through 3 and 4 here, hanging on to this one. Looks like he might be just enough to bump into the top 10. Question is, will it be enough? All right, here we go through 3 and 4, and it is gonna be Bowman to. Yep, Bowman goes 4th on the board. All right, one driver left. It's gonna be Ty Gibbs versus Denny Hamlin for the final spot. There we go. All right, here we go. Let's see. All right, we got Denny Hamlin coming around. Man, those are some high banks here. All right, and let's see. Again, we've got the top 10 shootout coming after this. Denny Hamlin, 3/100ths of a second up. Looks like he's going to be able to build a little bit of a gap here. Barring a mistake here, Denny Hamlin will race for the pole. And Ty Gibbs will go home and will have to race tomorrow for his starting position. As here we go, cross the line. Denny Hamlin bumps his way in the 4 slot, moving Ty Gibbs out. Logano, Elliott will be the first 2 to go and run here in a few minutes. All right, so again, we got our top 10 shootout remaining, where we will have the battle for the pole position. All right, so there we go. Again, we're just chilling out here. It's been a late day. I appreciate each and every one of you guys who's fighting through this, especially considering again I've had just kind of this really weird head thing that's come over me the last like day or so. But yeah, we got ourselves again the 10 drivers there: Logano, Elliott, Buscher, Heim, Larson, Bowman, Hamlin, Priest, Briscoe, and Kyle Busch dueling it out for the top spot here. Alright, so there we go. Alright, there we go. We're just chilling out here. Hopefully everybody's having a good time. Alright, so there we go again. We're just chilling out here. Hopefully everybody's having a good time. Alright, so there we go. Talking with Kyle Busch there. Qualified first in the first round. Obviously, he's going to have to try and hold off. He's going to have to try and hold off a hungry pack of cars here in the second round here. But he set the fastest lap in the fastest speed in the next gen car. I believe they said, yeah, in the entire history of the next gen car, that is the fastest lap turned, which credit to him. Great job for Kyle Busch. And so there we go. Again, we're just chilling out here. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. Again, we've got ourselves our 10 drivers, and honestly, it's a really good spread. I mean, we got what? 3 Toyota drivers, 4 Chevys, 3 Fords. So, I mean, it's a really nice balance. And I say you got 2 RFK cars and Joey Logano. You got 2 Hendrick cars, and you got 3 Hendrick cars and Kyle Busch. And you've got you got 2 Gibbs cars and Coreyheim. So it's a pretty good split. Not like in years past where it was like, okay, you had a lot of Ford or a lot of Hendrick Chevys. I mean, you do have 3 Hendrick Chevys, and that might be the heaviest, but even that isn't overly oppressive. So there we go. All right, so there we go. They're showing a ad for the Dale Earnhardt interview, not interview, but documentary on the day that Dale Senior passed away 25 years ago. Man, I wish I'd gotten to see him race in person, but unfortunately, I was born literally a few months later, so still hard to believe I'm turning 25 later this year. Yikes. So again, 25 years since Dale Earnhardt passed away, and as I say, literally, I think every single driver on this grid still has at least some impact or connection back to the late great Dale Earnhardt. Whether it's in some of the stuff that he taught the sport that have carried on, especially here at the super speedways and the drafting tracks in particular. All right, there we go. All right, there's Coreyheim. All right, there we go. All right, again, we're at another commercial break because we let the drivers like Logano, Hamlin, and whatnot try and get their engines somewhat cooled down as they all just ran a lap fairly recently. But obviously, you're gonna have to get back out there really kind of soon there. All right, so there we go. Again, we're just chilling out here. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. All right. We're just sitting through some commercial breaks here. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. Let me just double check, make sure nothing. Okay, screen capture is still good. Just wanted to make sure that no, so with the round of qualifying they're wrapping up, that nothing majorly shifted with the view there. So 10 laps remaining here. All right, there we go. We're back from commercial break. Again, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, the first two to come back out there to re-qualify their cars. All right, there we go. I'm going to see if I can refresh this page and get just the top 10. Hopefully it isn't all out of whack. All right, we will have to All right, there we go. That is good enough here as we are chilling out for the final 10 runs of qualifying here. Are you kidding me? They went to another commercial break. And see why qualifying is a really easy broadcast for the TV partners to make money on. I mean, you throw in enough commercial breaks. right, there we go. Yeah, we are chilling out here. Hopefully, everybody's having a good time. Alright. I am kind of interested to see if Coreyheim puts his open car on the pole position. That'll be insane. Because when was the last time we saw a non full time driver sit on the pole position for a Daytona 500? Let alone the fact that it would be his first Daytona 500. I only know he ran last year, so it wouldn't be his first Daytona 500. Did you get the free Menards calendar? Is that something you would need to have to? You need to be in person at a Menards store? Because if you're talking about that, well, we don't have Menards up here. That is just not that is not a store we have access to in my area of the country. We have Lowe's, we have Home Depot, and that's pretty much our go-tos for hardware. Oh, okay. It has the driver. You can get online too. Okay. Sorry. Obviously, I thought that when you said Menards, I was like, okay, yeah, Menards still sponsors Ryan Blaney from time to time. Maybe they have a free promotional calendar for the NASCAR season. But yeah. Well, hey, if there's a way to get a free calendar online, hey, that's pretty cool. But yeah. Again, 17 Daytona 500s for Joey Logano. He got the win back in 2015, and a handful of top tens here. But here we go. Let's see. What will Joey Logano be able to do here? Again, he was one of the last guys to run in that earlier qualifying session, so he is going to be, yeah, he's going to be struggling here to try and keep this, to get that. He would have struggled to try and get that car into optimal operating conditions, so we're going to have to wait and see here. All right, but yeah, here we go again. Logano wrapping the bottom pretty decently here, at least on the initial look. 181 miles an hour as they head down the back straightaway here. 182, 183. If you can hit 184 or 185 down at the end of the straightaway, you'll be pretty much golden. And does not crack the 185, but does get to 184 down the back straightaway. And through the corner, does dip below into the 179s for just a brief moment, but all appears well in the world, and that is comes across the line. First place, Joey Logano. All right, Joey Logano up to first place for a very brief moment. All right, here we go. Here comes Chase Elliott. He's made it. He's gotten here. Yeah, 10 times in his career he started the Daytona 500. He's finished in the top 10 twice with a best finish of a runner-up finish in the Great American Race. Has never managed to break through to win the big show, so we'll have to wait and see on Sunday if Elliott can do that. But yeah, now time to see if he can make like rookie Chase Elliott and win the pole position for the Daytona 500. So there we go. All right, so here we go. Off turn 4, here comes Elliott. He's going to beat Logano for sure. And there it is. Chase Elliott to the top of the board. Logano to second. And say it looked clear, but Elliott not leading by much here. All right, so there we go. Not sure why they're showing the drivers all the way at the very bottom, unless they know something we don't about the percentages there. All right, here we go. Busher is on track and racing against the Chase Elliott Ghost car here. Again, Busher competing down the back straightaway. 183, 184. Can we see 185? Yes, we do for just the briefest of moments. 185 as he enters the corner. Again, able to carry that little bit extra speed. Sometimes that's all it takes. All right, there we go. Busher to the top of the board. All right, here we go. Chris Busher to the top of the board. Now we've got the 67 of Coreyheim. Coreyheim has car number 67 for the Daytona Cup Series. All right, here we go. And 67 is actually out ahead here of the Ghost car through 3 and 4, as they're going to be heading back towards the front stretch and the tri-oval. Can Coreyheim potentially sit on that front row? Maybe on the pole position. Coreyheim did have plenty of time to get that car cooled down, as he was the first one out on track earlier today. And here we go, through 3. He's doing an amazing job here. Just managing this gap, running this one as best he can up through the tri-oval. Here at Daytona, Coreyheim to the top of the board for now. All right, so far every single driver has been able to one-up everybody else. So there we go. Coreyheim to P1. Now time for Kyle Larson to go P1. All right, so there we go. 16 Daytona poles for Hendrick Motorsports. 0 front row starts the last 3 years. Wow. All right, so there we go. All right, here we go. Here comes Larson. Larson tracking actually a little bit behind Coreyheim here. Let's see if Larson can find a little bit of speed here. I don't know. It's close. It's really, really close here. All right, here we go. Down through 3 and 4. And oh, Kyle Larson not able to upset Heim. Larson still able to get on that front row for a brief moment, but again, not able to win the argument award. All right, so here we go. Here comes Alex Bowman. I say most Daytona 500 pole awards all time. Alex Bowman could tie the record this year if he's able to go ahead and win the pole award. Let's see. Alex Bowman down into turns 1 and 2 here. He has a nose out ahead of the Ghost car of Coreyheim. The two cars may as well be one here, though, because this one is very close. A little up the track for Bowman through 1 and 2, though. And Corey Heim held it steady all the way through. And now it's going to be... All right, so here we go. Coming through the 3 and 4. Off of turn 4. Last shot for Bowman. Can he get there? Not going to get there for the pole. Can he beat Larson? He beats Larson for second. Alex Bowman to second. Corey Heim still on the front row and in the pole position. There we go. All right, Bowman to P2. So Corey Heim holding on to that top spot is pretty impressive here. All right, so here we go. Denny Hamlin, 3 wins in his Daytona 500 career. I don't know how many pole awards he's gotten, but Denny Hamlin could be one of those drivers to watch here. Again, he was the last driver to go, so he had very little time to cool his car, but he was running later in this group, so maybe he had enough time to get it cooled down. Currently, it's a drag race between him and the ghost car of Heim. Down the back straightaway. Denny running a higher line. Denny Hamlin running a little bit of a higher line there. Giving a little bit more speed on entrance to turn 3. Now off of turn 4, coming towards the start-finish line. Looks like Hamlin's got a nose out ahead. Denny Hamlin's going to gap it, the ghost car of Heim. And Denny Hamlin sits on the pole position with 3 drivers left. Corey Heim still in position to hold on to a spot if he can just manage to hang on here. Hamlin and Corey Heim currently 1 and 2 at the very top of the leaderboard with 2 drivers remaining. Here comes Ryan Preece, car number 60. A driver more familiar with the airspace at Daytona International Speedway than he is with the land speed. But here comes Ryan Preece. He's going to see if he can rock it all the way around this bottom. Again, you got to find something you can figure out how to do better than Hamlin, because clearly Hamlin absolutely had just stolen right there. But all right, so here we go. Ryan Preece out ahead of Denny Hamlin. He's got a shot to try and upset the front row here. Here comes Ryan Preece with a rocket ship off of turn 4. Here it comes. The 60 of Ryan Preece to the top of the board by a decent margin there. Ryan Preece goes goes top of the board here. Now it's just Chase Briscoe and Kyle Busch remaining. 2 drivers remain here. All right, so here we go. Coming to the green flag, starting his lap. It's the 2025 pole sitter at Daytona. Chase Briscoe here trying to look to go back-to-back with the pole awards. And I not a whole lot of time remaining here. Let's see. All right, so there we go. Ryan Preece, Chase Briscoe dueling it out down the back straightaway here. I'm going to say Briscoe out ahead through 3 and 4. I believe Chase Briscoe has this one in the bag. Off the corner. Who wasn't very aware. Wasn't very good there, but here we go. Chase Briscoe to the top of the board. Bumps Preece. And now with 1 driver remaining, Chase Briscoe guaranteed to start on the front row. The question is, what spot will he fill, and who will be that driver alongside him? Will it be Ryan Preece in the 2 spot to Briscoe's 1? Will that spot be filled by Kyle Busch, who is, say, 20 Daytona 500s deep here? 5 times he has finished inside the top 10. And here we go. The rocket ship that is Kyle Busch. One last shot here for Kyle Busch to get that pole position. Kyle Busch with a little bit of a higher entry into the corner. Not sure if that'll ultimately allow him to gain a little bit of speed on exit. We'll have to wait and see. It definitely, looks like it could have been, because I definitely saw some movement. But here we go. Kyle Busch with a nose out ahead of the 19 here. Can they get it? Kyle Busch, he's got the nose out in front. Kyle Busch just inching further and further ahead of Chase Briscoe as they come off of turn number 4 towards the start-finish line. It's going to be Kyle Busch on pole. Chase Briscoe will be second. So there we go. Your 2026 Daytona 500 pole sitter is Kyle Busch. Alongside him, Chase Briscoe. The rest of the field largely unaffected, as they will all be racing for their starting spots in about 24 hours or so. So again, Kyle Busch, first career Daytona 500 pole position. Great job for him. And there we go. Chase Briscoe starting on the outside the front row after being the pole sitter a year ago. Let's go. Also, just a reminder, Corey Heim and Justin Allgaier locked into the field on speed via the time trials. But as I said, it's been a long day. I'm going to go to bed, and we will see you guys tomorrow for the duels at Daytona. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next video. Live stream, whatever you guys had to do with the rest of your night. Have a great night, everybody, and hopefully we'll be a little bit more rested tomorrow. But until next time,